What is up, my YouTube channel? It has been a while since I have created a video just for this channel and just for this platform, but I'm super pumped and I'm excited, and it's been a couple of years. So I am going to be today recapping just the resurgence of my fitness journey in my life and kind of all the reasons for that. And my main goal with starting up YouTube again is to just share my journey in much more detail. Obviously, you can see me. This is a longer form video that you're able to listen to me speak a little bit more, but it's not something like a podcast because you're able to actually see, and I can share things like grocery hauls, full days of eating, recipes, workouts that you're actually going to be able to see and watch versus just listening. So, man, since the last time I've been on YouTube, I have gone from being a solo entrepreneur and coaching just as me. Marissa Roy Fitness was the business. It was me and my Excel sheets. And it has become, now I have an amazing team of, I think, 13 amazing staff members, some part-time, some full-time. And we have rebranded and grown into PCC, Permanent Change Coaching, where our mission is to help millions of women transform themselves from the inside out and become the strongest versions of themselves, repairing their relationship with food and their bodies and fat loss. And we have just such a strong mission. We just wrapped up our annual staff retreat. And so the staff retreat has brought up for me a lot of points of reflection that really pushed me to want to share all of this with you guys. So I have, in the process of growing my business up to the point that it is at now, the past 2 years almost to date have been quite the whirlwind. And I went from being the bodybuilding obsessed, meal prep handled, just on point with everything person and client, to just not even having fitness be a top priority anymore, and not even a priority really at all. And that was something that I really struggled with through these past 2 years of really growing a business and learning what it means to truly become a business owner and an entrepreneur. But this is a season of my life where that is no longer acceptable. I basically realized that I have grown the business to the point at which I have become its biggest constraint. And so if you've never heard of the theory of constraints is essentially that something will grow or expand up to the next constraint. And then you have to remove that constraint in order for that thing to continue growing. So with business, it's very simple. It's just finding that constraint and continuing to relieve those so that you can keep growing. And me being the constraint means that it's my leadership skills, my way of being, and who I am that is limiting the business from going to the next level. And what I mean by that is it's the standards that I hold myself to, the boundaries that I uphold or don't uphold in my life, and truly just the person that I am and the values that I live by has created the next bottleneck that's going to allow me to step into the best version of myself, and that is going to help me be the best leader possible. And what I had to realize in this process was that it can't be about the business. As much as I just related it to that and it will benefit the business, the reason that I have to do this and the reason that I have to reprioritize myself and my health and my fitness is not for the growth of the business or more dollar signs in the bank or more people that I get to employ and give full-time careers. Those are my primary drivers, and those are the things that I strive towards, and those are the things that truly motivate me very, very easily. But the things that need to be a priority, and the reason I do need to do this, is simply for myself. I have been neglecting myself for far too long, and 2 years is a long time to have fitness slip and slip and slip back in the priorities list. So it has to be for me. And I had to make peace with the fact that if I prioritize my health and my fitness journey and the business stays exactly the same, or if the business actually decreases in performance, or if the business explodes because everything that I just said would happen happens. I made peace with all of those outcomes because it cannot be for any contingent outcome. It has to be for me. And I guess, you know, the analogy I'll draw, maybe not all of you watching this are business owners. Maybe you are moms or dads or career people, and you think, well, if I take care of myself, then my partner will love me more. I'll have more energy for the kids. I'll be able to make moves in my career. I will be able to get more promotions. And maybe that's the way we think about it, is it's contingent to an outcome versus it's just for me to live by higher standards and to prioritize myself because I deserve it. Because if you don't have your internal health and you don't have your mental and physical well-being in check and you don't hold yourself to high standards there, then everything as a result, as a trickle down, is going to be affected, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not. And that's what I had to realize and come to terms with. So all that to say, long story short, my fitness goals for this go round of pursuing my fitness journey are not really tied to any specific physique, not tied to any specific strength outcome or ability level yet. I don't have anything nailed or dialed in there. However, my goals are more so tied to how I cultivate a culture of discipline within myself to be able to hold myself to the highest standard and just have more control and power in my own journey, because that's something that I've given up, and I've allowed my emotions and my feelings to take the driver's seat for too long, where like I don't feel like it has become a viable excuse to not go to the gym, which is not okay, because you're supposed to not feel like it but still be able to make yourself go anyways, and that wasn't the case. My goals encompass a mixture of things. I really have kind of latched on to a different way of training since the last time I've been on YouTube. So ever since we moved down to North Carolina, I started doing CrossFit, and I actually ended up doing CrossFit like full time for a while. And then I realized I was losing my butt because that was a lot of cardio and not a lot of glute isolation work. And so I started doing a hybrid of CrossFit and lifting. And I have been absolutely loving that. It's been so much fun. I love CrossFit, and I could do a whole nother video on kind of dispelling some myths about CrossFit for you, the general population who maybe doesn't know as much about CrossFit versus just regular lifting. And there's a lot of myths about how injuries are really prevalent in CrossFit and how it's not good for you to do. But I think ultimately that's been super fun for me. I've been just lifting a couple times per week, and so now my goal is to increase my overall workout frequency. I want to work out 5 or 6 times per week and just stay very, very active as a baseline, and also incorporate some running into my routine as well. I have had an interesting history with running. If you know my story, then you know that my fitness journey started by doing a lot of running to try to burn tons and tons of calories to be smaller. But I want to be able to enjoy running for what it is, for a peaceful escape, and to be able to just pick up on a run and go, I think is something that I value, that I'm not currently able to do without being very, very miserable. So incorporating some running, continuing CrossFit a couple times per week, and then getting back to a structured lifting plan. And the coolest part about this is that this is probably the first time in my life that I have not had an expectation around specifically how my body's going to look at the end of this. I just know that I want to have a well-rounded, diverse training program. And I know that I will be doing a fat loss phase, which I'll get into, but exactly how my body looks, where I lean out, where I don't, how it ends up actually does not really matter to me. Right now my body's in a place where I still feel really good about it where it is, and this has a lot more to do with what's between my ears than what my body looks like. And so When it comes to the nutrition and the diet portion, I am currently in kind of a priming phase where I'm eating more before I eat less, but I will be doing a fat loss phase. Again, I would love to lean out a little bit, but the main driver of this has more to do with what's between the ears than the actual physical result of losing pounds. It's really more so proving to myself the fact that I can do it and that I can be consistent and that I can follow through on a full dieting phase and see the results that are supposed to come from that. What I've learned in the past few years is that I have started many fat loss phases, but I have not followed through appropriately on a single one of them. The closest I got to it was before our wedding. I was fairly adherent to our diet, to the diet that I did to lose a little bit before the wedding, but even so, I was pretty lackadaisical. And for me, it has a lot more to do with being able to say, I set the goal, I did the thing, and I actually followed through on it the way that I wanted to, not perfectly, but to the best of my ability. And I just don't feel like I've been giving my fitness or my nutrition goals my best for a very, very long time. And that's a shitty feeling. So that is what my goals are. And in order to achieve these goals, I actually hired a coach for the first time in about 2 years as well. I actually probably stopped working with my last nutrition and training coach, Brandon Wadas, who was amazing, and I loved working with him, but I think he was moving in a different direction with his career, and I was moving in a different direction with my fitness out of the bodybuilding space. So when we stopped working together, I did not hire another coach for about 2 years, and it goes to show that when you lack that accountability, things just don't go the way that we want, right? The trend lines add up. So I hired a coach, and I had to really think and search and look for somebody that I did not feel like I could truly let down. And so I ended up hiring somebody who I actually very much look up to in a YouTube business podcast content sense. You can find him here on this channel as well. Cody McBroom, the CEO of Tailored Life Coaching. And so they are a very similar brand to what we are at PCC. Very, very much trying to set the standard in the fitness industry and be the best coaches out there. And Cody is a true leader and leads with integrity and walks the walk. And I've been listening to his content for a couple years now. And when it came time for me to have that conversation with myself and then look at who to hire as a coach, he was pretty much one of the only people that came to mind, because I had to hire someone that I could not imagine myself turning in a half-assed check-in to. Like, even if it was a horrible week, which I'll get into in another video, because I just had a pretty horrible week and had to check in after that. Even if it was a horrible week, checking in to the best of my ability, still giving all that I can with the data that I have, because I value the relationship with the person and respect the person so much that I don't want to disrespect their time by not taking the journey with them seriously. So that is why I ended up hiring Cody, because he was that for me. And we're only like a week and a half into the journey so far. So this is very much at ground zero. So I'm excited to take you through the whole thing, but just wanted to give you a little bit of my rationale for why that is. And then finally, because I know this is a long talking head video right now, I wanted to explain what this series on YouTube is going to be called, because I know that that's typically what we do. We name the series, but I wanted to name it something representative of what I'm going through. This is a couple pages that we just filled out at our staff retreat this past weekend. Just had my whole staff in town to hang out. We went on a boat, we did some fun activities, and we did some self-reflection, and we shared a lot of these things. And I we asked a couple questions. So we asked, how would you best describe our work in women's lives? And we really described the impact that we aim to make and that we make with other women in our company, our personal definition of success, and then my favorite question, who is the great woman that you want to become? And then I asked, what standards must we live by in order to become her? What are some examples of the ways we're already living up to those standards? And where are we falling short of these standards? And how can we improve? And then finally, what is one word that describes or encompasses the improvements that we're looking to make? So I actually did not expect at all to use this word for anything, but I'll tell you a little story around how this came to be. I wrote 5 words here at the bottom for that last question after reflecting on all of those things. And I actually, as the team was going around and sharing, was thinking to myself, how am I going to decide which one of these words is going to really represent what I'm going through? Maybe I should tell the team, kind of a summary and have them help me decide. And it was ironic because one of the words on there was self-assured, meaning not needing other people's opinions to make a decision. And here I was, as the leader of the company, needing other people's opinions to pick a word. So I realized that had to be it. It had to be me becoming self-assured, because what the past 2 years has done for me is basically eroded at my confidence that my word means something to me. It means something to everyone else. If I say I'm going to do something for you, I'm going to do it. But if I say that I'm going to do something for myself, the confidence that I have in that is very low. So the word is self-assured. I'm going to become somebody who is self-assured, who keeps the small promises that I make to myself on a day-by-day and moment-by-moment basis, and I live with that integrity through and through. And so that is what this series is going to be called, and I will read you this to finish us out. The great woman that I want to become. She is confident in her own worth to know that she doesn't need to try to control others' perceptions of her. She builds deep, meaningful relationships with those around her. She is curious. She's an amazing listener and question asker. She uses her Enneagram 3 as a tool, but lets go of it as a crutch. She is a disciplined leader. She has confidence leading hard conversations, but also delicate and vulnerable ones. Others look up to her and gravitate towards her not because of what she says or what she's done, but who and how she is. She is a leader that leads with vulnerability and integrity at the same time. And she is a leader who never asks someone to do something that she wouldn't. A leader who is deeply trusted, not because she said, "Trust me, it's safe," but because that's the energy she creates. She's a leader who leads herself first. And I could keep going, but that is essentially what being self-assured means to me and who I want to become and why I want to become that. So I'm excited that if you've watched this whole video, that you're on board for the journey with me, and I'm going to be taking you along the way, every single step of the way. I already have a bunch of videos planned that I want to knock out, and I hope that you're excited and just as excited as I am to be embarking on this together. And I guess if you are embarking on a fitness journey on your own, if you're a client of ours at PCC, or you're just watching and you're an old subscriber who saw this come through and you were like, Marissa, she's on YouTube again? I want you to leave a comment in the comments below and let me know what your word is for yourself for the next, say, 6 months or year of what encompasses what you're going to focus on and the great woman or man that you want to become. So thank you so much for watching, for listening to all the things about me and my goals. If you made it this far, and I appreciate you being here. And if you would like to follow along with the Self-Assured series and my return to YouTube, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get notified every time a new video comes out. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.